Labą dieną, everyone. Welcome to special URBONUS edition from Kaunas, live from the Final Four city. We have fans for the first time in our podcast history. Hello, labą dieną, kalispera, kalinichta, kalimera, merhaba, ciao. A lot of fans are here, actually. I mean, I feel weird calling all these names, but we met Italian fans, we met fans from Spain, from Greece, from a lot of countries are coming to Kaunas to watch the Final Four. And it's just great what we have here. First of all, Augustas Šuliauskas is here, my regular co-host. Jonas Miklovas, founder of BasketNews.com. He replaced Rytis Vyšniauskas on this podcast because some dumbasses decided to do construction works close to Kaunas.
Shame on them.
Shame on them. The trip from Vilnius to Kaunas was delayed for 1 hour, so thank God I made podcast on time. Rytis, unfortunately, he didn't. But he will be there in this Basket News Friends zone, so you will be able to take pictures and to say hi to Rytis, the MVP of Mike James, actually. So yeah, that's a special event, special podcast, and I just wanted to ask you, Jonas, how do you feel about having this whole thing right here? Somebody who actually initiated this project almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, actually, we started BasketNews.com almost 2 years ago. And this was kind of a dream, to have Final Four in Kaunas one day. And it came earlier than I expected, but also much later than I hoped for. But it's better late than never, as they say. And finally, it's in Kaunas. That's my hometown. That's the place I grew up. That's where we have our offices right here. And that's the place, I think, where basketball just, you can feel it breathing everywhere. You can feel it breathing in every street. And I think every guest who came in Kaunas today, throughout this weekend, they can feel that everybody knows what is going on. Everybody knows about the Final Four. They can hear the songs being broadcasted next to fountain. They can see all the fans singing loudly on the street. So just a very, very festive mode, and I'm so happy to see all this happening in my hometown.
Can you compare, guys? Can you compare, this is my first Final Four, you have been to many more in other countries. What was it like in other cities, and is Kaunas better prepared for this, or you can feel the atmosphere much more here?
I think it's too early to judge if Kaunas prepared better than some other cities, but I know why Kaunas is unique. Yes, there were difficulties how to reach Kaunas through planes, a lot of connections.
Kevin Durant could not make it.
Kevin Durant couldn't make it because it's the best location to spend summer, Lithuania. It's not too hot. It's very good location to spend summer, Mike James. But anyways, it was really hard to reach Kaunas. Yeah, hotels, apartments were overpriced. But I think Kaunas is an ideal spot because everything is so close. I mean, the arena is on the next, across the street, next to the river. There's the city center. There's this famous fountain, the most famous fountain where you can put some random YouTube songs. I've heard the Olympiacos anthem for 10 times since yesterday lunch.
Imagine they win.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I've heard that they're gonna do this march, fans gonna march from that fountain to Žalgirio Arena, and it is expected that gonna be at least 4,000 Olympiacos fans. And to be honest, knowing Greeks, I expect a little bit more, maybe 5, maybe close to 6,000 fans coming from Greece. And of course, kudos to Olympiacos fans for making this Final Four atmosphere so exciting. We can hear all their songs all over the city. They share this positive energy. It would have been very interesting with Maccabi or Partizan fans over there, but that's for sure that Kaunas, for this weekend, the host of this Final Four will be not only Kaunas, but Olympiacos fans as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. We are hosting thousands of Olympiacos fans. And actually answering to Augustas' question, I want to also mention my very first Final Four. It was back in 2007. It was in Athens. Actually, it was in Athens. And I still remember it one of the best experience in basketball, actually. Of course, that's first time, and all the first times are great to remember. But that was the year when, okay, now Olympiacos fans will hate me, but that was the year when Panathinaikos won the EuroLeague on their home court in Oaxaca. And it was just amazing, feeling the atmosphere, feeling all the joy in the air, celebrating with all those crazy fans, and just just shout out to those Greek fans, not only Olympiacos fans who are here, we love them, but also Panathinaikos fans. Okay, you are going through a bit tougher times right now, but guys, you have great history, and that memory from 2007 is very fondly in my memory.
Yeah, so this podcast will be a little bit different, a little bit shorter, and our regular podcast will be streamed tomorrow on Saturday. We're going to share our reactions. Rit is going to be here as well, that's for sure. But so here we'll try to give our short semifinal predictions. We already shared our experiences, but let's start from the most anticipated semifinal. Before the Final Four, I made this survey of 14 EuroLeague players that didn't make the Final Four, and they took the semifinal as the most closest, and they actually picked Olympiacos in a very tight race to advance to the semifinal. What do you think, Augustas? Because I know that I read your breakdown, I watched your breakdown, and I would say I know that you're concerned about Olympiacos' situation facing Monaco, right?
Look, I'm not concerned. It's really, it doesn't really matter, I think, who wins today. I mean, it matters a lot, but I wouldn't be saying that they are the better team, for sure. Because it's only a single elimination game. If Olympiacos wins, yeah, they were better today. If Monaco wins, they were better today. But I think it just depends so much on luck. Also, not only on the tactics, but, you know, if some of these players make shots today for Olympiacos, I think, obviously, they are the favorites. But Monaco have a clear tactic that they used throughout these 2 seasons. And if non-shooters, you know, or not reliable as others, Volkov, Papanikolaou, McKissick can't make shots today, I think Monaco has a great chance of winning. So, you know, either way, I wouldn't be guaranteed, you know, that the best team wins, because I would love to see Sirius to really say that, okay, yeah, Olympiacos were the better team this season. So I will choose Monaco, because I like their chances in the clutch, even though Olympiacos have probably the most clutch guy in Europe, Kostas Sloukas. And they think that matchup of Sloukas against Mike James will be crucial in the 4th quarter.
I'm surprised that we don't have any X coming to us after your prediction of Monaco advancing in the semifinal. I mean, I had this discussion with Eric McCollum and Bill Clyburn at the beginning of the week, and they also took Monaco over Olympiacos, and I see their arguments, I see your arguments.
I saw Bill Clyburn's arguments, and they were like, yeah, they're my friends, and I see Monaco winning, that's why.
In our words, yeah, in our words, yes. But he also mentioned all those, you know, individual players deciding Final Four tournaments, deciding decisive games. But to be honest, I think that there are some underrated factors that Olympiacos has, and you cannot see on the box score or sometimes even on the floor. And I would start with the experience. Come on, I mean, only Mike James has Final Four experience, and that final experience includes 2 Final Four games.
Ago.
Exactly, 7 years ago, two Final Four games. And what is Final Four experience? I heard some stories. First of all, I had this conversation with Mbasa Micic a couple of years ago, and he told that it really matters. The first time he made the Final Four with Žalgiris, and they faced Fenerbahce, after that game, he understood what it takes to have that Final Four experience. So he built up for the next Final Four. They still lost, but then again and again, they finally reached their goals. And he said that this Final Four experience was crucial. And what it means to have the Final Four experience. For instance, I know for sure that before some playoff games, there were players who were basically about to shit in their pants because of all the pressure that were coming at us, because these were crucial matchups. I know coaches for sure taking shots of alcoholic drinks before Game 5 because of all the pressure, because of all these new situations that they were going through. Olympiacos, they've been there. I mean, they won the Game 5 last season. They had this apocalypse environment in Piraeus, in presence of Kevin Durant. And this time, when they celebrated this win, it was different. They knew what was coming for them for the semifinal. They knew what they experienced last year against Efes, where Singleton eliminated basically Sasha Vezenkov from that game. It was crucial for Efes to win that game. So they know what it takes. They know the lessons. They know what to do to make the final. I really believe that they will make this step. And with Monaco, I cannot trust them. I know that I can trust Olympiacos. They were the most consistent team this season. They were the best all-around team. And they're just built for this Final Four to finally win it. Because, I mean, that's... Sasha Vezenkov, for me, is the ambassador of what Olympiacos created in the last few years. Off-ball movement, team basketball, everybody's involved. It starts with Yorgos Barsokas and his coaching tactics. And I really believe that, they're gonna show it all in Kaunas.
Really, two different styles of basketball also, I think. Olympiacos sharing the ball a lot, playing team basketball, Monaco not turning the ball over a lot, simply because they, everything is in one player's hands. If they create some advantage, it's a pass or a shot. So also would be interesting to see which style will prevail. And so you have this discussion all the time. Is it better? What works in Europe better, or team play or individual? So you could put it this semifinal also in this way. Jonas, who are you taking? Because we have a one here.
Well, before telling my choice, I'll go to live chat on our YouTube page, and almost 700 people are watching us online right now.
Nice.
And of course, Greeks are celebrating, taking over there. And Kostas says that we have a 10th budget in the EuroLeague, but we are the best team this year. You have to respect that more. And this is a point to be taken and discussed more as well. Olympiacos is not the team with the highest budget. It hasn't been that way, I don't know, for many years now. We all remember those years with Josh Childress, with Linas Kleiza, and so on, those high budget teams. This year's team, last year's teams, the previous teams, they're not high budget teams. And we really have to respect what this team, what their management, the GMs, what they have done with combining these players into a very special group. And just yesterday, we talked with Thomas Walkup, and he said that basically we spent 2 years together. It's not like we spent some time together. We had for 2 years together, and you just formed that brothership through those 2 years, and that's a very big thing for them, that's for sure.
And it's crazy that we're talking about Olympiacos being so great right now when I've just wrote a story about Sasha Vezenkov and his unlikely MVP journey. 3 years ago, when there was this COVID season, 2019-20, they had players like Wade Baldwin, Kevin Punter, Vasilis Panulis, Nikola Milutinov, Yorgos Pridintezis was still at his, not peak, but at solid stage of his career. Vezenkov basically was the third guy, the third power forward on that roster. But the problem is that they started it with David Blatt, then Kęstutis Kemzūra changed him after the second game of the season. The problem was that they were ISO team, they were not sharing the ball, they tried to win through the talent, they had a lot of problems. There was this infamous fight between Will Cherry and Wade Baldwin. And there was the moment when the current MVP, the best player of the EuroLeague, Sasha Vezenkov, in his first 15 EuroLeague regular season games, he was averaging 3.5 points in 9 minutes per game. And there was the moment when Tenerife wanted to bring Sasha Vezenkov, and Sasha Vezenkov was looking for a situation where he would get more playing time. And the whole change started with Yorgos Barsokas. When he came, he installed this team basketball with a lot of ball movement, and that's where Sasha Vezenkov fits the best. He found his role over there. Of course, he worked a lot individually, especially during that COVID break. He was working daily in small town in Bulgaria, and he reached that point where he is right now. So kudos to Olympiacos as well, and kudos to all small budget teams like Olympiacos and Monaco, I would say. Everybody says that, they are buying great players, they're coming here, they're here just for the money. No, just as like Olympiacos. I think that they share, I did this budget research. I hope it will be published in the upcoming dates. And
because too many people are waiting for that, man.
That's true.
Just yesterday, I got an email from an angry Serbian who I promised this article to be ready back in April. And he now comes back and he says, man, where is the article? Where is the budget article?
Jonas, I've been hearing this. I write to Donatas, and he's like, what are you working on? This budget article, and this is like back in November, I would say. Not even in April. This is like 6-7 months ago. He's still working on that article, I guess.
Yeah, we have those weekly calls, we had them on Mondays, now we have them on Fridays. And basically every week where we share our plans, Donatas keeps saying, okay, I'm leaning closer to that budget article. It's going to be ready in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time.
Okay, so I have to explain myself right
team,
now.
Huh?
The problem is the transparency of EuroLeague teams. First of all, some teams, they are not just publishing numbers, they're not telling me the exact numbers, so it just makes the whole research more difficult. some teams actually throwing some numbers, but when I do my own research with very good sources, it turns out that these numbers are actually different. So there's nobody I could trust, and I believe that's another thing that EuroLeague should work on. First of all, we should have all the budgets officially declared. We have some great examples, starting from Žalgiris Kaunas. Every year since I remember, basically, for many years, they're declaring their budget before the season, and I believe that's how it should be. So, and that would make my article also easier. But again, both Monaco and Olympiacos, they're like somewhere in the mid-level budgeted teams. Of course, Barca, Real Madrid, they're on the top. What shows?
Can we talk exact numbers, Donatas? Can you give us a sneak peek into that article and talk exact numbers of these Final Four teams?
For instance, why it's so hard, to publish that article? I've read reports on Spanish media where they trust some, let's say, official declarations, which says that, for instance, Barca's budget is 44 total, and for salaries, gross salaries is around 32 millions. Then I try to get this information from Barcelona people, and I get smaller numbers. And then when I try to do my own research, I see that, they're too small, in my honest opinion and according to my calculations. What's clear that Real Madrid and Barca, they have the biggest budget. Their payroll, net salaries, somewhere between 17, 19 millions. For instance, Fenerbahce and Efes, they're in the range of 16, 17 millions. Olympiacos and Monaco, if I remember well about Monaco, it's from 9 to 10.5. It depends on bonuses, and it's clear that they're gonna get their bonuses this year. With Olympiacos, it's also around from 10 to 11, only for players and coaches' salaries. So, we have one semifinal with the range of 10 and 11 million budgets, and Barcelona and Real Madrid 19, 17, 18. But I think that this season proved that they're not winning the EuroLeague anymore. We have Efes out of the playoffs. Milan and Virtus, they have solid budget of around 14 million euros only for salaries. So it's a huge difference compared to Monaco and Olympiacos. And that's why I cheer for Monaco and Olympiacos. If they win, it will just establish the fact that we are not winning anymore, and we need playoff series, not the Final Four.
Yeah, because that's we saw in this year's playoffs as well. Two of the 4 series. The first game was won by a team which lost the series. So basically, if we have just one game, you can never know if that team is really the stronger one. Okay, this Final Four is great. It's from just a casual spectator, I think it's great. You just turn on the TV for one weekend, you watch those 4 or 3 games. Nobody cares about the third place game. They watch those games, and they get a picture of European basketball. But for those bigger fans, for basketball junkies like us, I guess as well, you just want to really know which team is the strongest one. And sometimes one game can be a lottery, and it's not always the right way to get to know the champion. So my prediction, just going back to that, my prediction is that Monaco going to win. The first semifinal, it's just one game. I'm pretty sure that Olympiacos is a better team and they would win the series, but I'm just betting on Mike James having a great game. I'm just betting on that and carrying the team to the final.
But my other argument is that I have no doubts that Mike James will perform. I just have doubts on others. Mike James will get his numbers one way or another. It's about others to step up without having that experience. And we saw how experience mattered in the game 1 against Maccabi in the playoff series. So I stick to my decision. And by the way, Rytis also shared his prediction. Once again, he couldn't be there because of some huge road construction and traffic jams close to Kaunas. So he picks Olympiacos in 5. So we have nice 2-2 over there. What do you think about the other semifinal, Barca, Real Madrid?
I think it's much more one-sided, to be honest. I know you can't write off the Madrid's veterans, and we saw that in Game 5 in Madrid against Partizan, but I am not sure if they have enough to win today. They have huge losses in the front court. They're missing Yabusele, Dek, Poirier. That's 3 of the 4 most important players of their front court. The stoppers of Mirotic, Yabusele and Dek last year in the semifinal, they were defending him, are not there. So who is going to guard Mirotic? I know probably it's going to be a team's job, but I could smell Mirotic, having a big game. And then it's obvious that Jasikevicius knows all the tricks of how to expose Tavares' defense in the paint and has the personnel to do that. Vesely mid-ranges, Shanley three-pointers. There is also Mike Tobey, so he can just stretch the floor and punish Tavares this way. For Madrid to win, you need to expect big game for Tavares and then big games from their perimeter players. Can Musa bring his energy and not the bad energy, the overdoing stuff, and be decisive, be intelligent with his decisions? Can Chacho Rodriguez have another great game like he did in Game 5? Can Sergio Llull have a great game as well? Can Nigel Goss make those shots? So I just have more doubts about Madrid. I think Barca is prepared really well this season. They're much better this season. They have experience, and I think Barca is going to win it. I really can't see, Madrid has to pull off a perfect game to win.
What do you think was the best solution for Madrid to try to contain Mirotic?
I just think they need to be really physical. We know he sometimes struggles against contact finishing. I expect to see them fronting him in the post, making it hard for him to receive the ball, and then it's Tavares protecting the paint. But at the same time, you will have Shanley staying on the three-point line. So it's a tricky decision. Madrid is going to have to risk and going to have to hope that it's a bad night for Barca.
It just looks like that Barca right now is peaking, and we are peaking at the right moment. That's year number 3 for Šarūnas Jasikevicius at the helm, and he learned, I think, his lessons. He got this team constructed in his own manner, in his own way. He got the players that he wanted, basically over those 3 years. And I think that's the year for him and for Barca, just finally finishing the job which Šaras was meant to do. And I'm just jumping right now into the finals and picking the finals as we can feel. But I feel that Barca is here to win the whole thing.
The perfect story.
Hopefully.
For Šaras.
And for Jonas.
Yeah.
Actually, you should listen to what Augustas says and what he writes on BasketNews.com with his video breakdowns or just breakdowns in the articles more carefully, because let's say that's the feedback I've got from one of the members of the Final Four team. He said that this analysis, I won't mention names, this analysis is really professional scouting. So you should be more aware of what Augustas is saying and don't listen to Mike James. I mean, Augustas knows the point, actually, what he's talking about. So yeah, I also pick Barcelona. I just think that they're a better team in general, and I think that they went through a lot last year. They're prepared to win it in the semifinals at first. If Deck was there, maybe I would have a different opinion, because I've heard that Madrid has big chemistry issues this season, and starting from Pablo Lasso leaving the team, and this whole frustration was building up during the season, and probably the iceberg of that frustration was Game 2, this Sergio Llull unsportsmanlike foul against Kevin Punter. It was the top frustration point of Real Madrid team. But this whole situation, this MVP move by Sergio Llull changed the whole momentum, because, I mean, Real Madrid is like Madrid against the world. Nobody wants them to succeed. We have Will Clyburn and Eric McCollum on the podcast publicly saying we want them fail because they didn't deserve to be here. It feels like everyone except for Madrid fans want them fail. So in these situations, when team feels attacked, it kind of gets them united. It makes them click more, and for a couple of weeks they can become the best friends just to prove everybody wrong. But again, if they had Gabriel Deck on the team, I would say that it's not decided yet, and anything decided yet in the semifinals. But now they're just lacking of personnel to beat Barcelona team. And I think that Ritis also picked Barca over Real Madrid, and yeah, in a clear victory by 13 points.
I saw some in your players article. Somebody chose Real to win it all, I think. That's quite interesting.
What was funny that there were only 3 players out of 14 that picked Real Madrid over Barca, and they all saw Madrid actually winning it all.
Who were those players? Do you remember? I think one of those were Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith, Alex Poitras, and Kyle Hines. Kyle Hines picked Madrid even before the playoffs. And I asked him, Kyle, would you like to change your pick? Because, they're missing some players. They're not fans' favorites at the moment, but he stuck to his decision, which I respect a lot.
You can remember last year they were also counted out before the quarterfinal series, before the Final Four, and then they went on to win everything. I don't see that happening this year, but who knows? Maybe they repeat the story.
Guys, before jumping into your predictions, who's going to win the finals, just one quick fact. 1,000 people are watching right now us live on YouTube. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us all season, actually. And this Final Four event is the greatest chance to understand how close basketball community got with this podcast, because it feels like every interaction I have in the streets of Kaunas, they say, oh, good podcast. They try to talk something about the podcast, and it was the main idea. I remember when we started it with Jonas, he said it will go two ways. Either everyone will think that what are these two Lithuanian guys talking about in English, who cares about their opinion, and especially about European basketball, or it will be a tool to unite European basketball community. And then now we see many fans in streets of Kaunas coming to the Final Four, sharing their insights about the podcast. We have Mike James sharing his insights about the podcast. Even some Monaco players share their insights about Augusta's haircut, I would say. So
What?
That's a huge recognition. Yeah, that's a huge recognition.
Those were good comments? That's what I thought.
I like your haircut. I like your haircut.
They don't.
Okay, guys, so what are your picks for the finals?
Why we have to... No, let's tease fans. We will have another live
You have to guess
podcast
it
on
all.
Sunday.
You have to make content,
Yeah, let's keep this drama until the end. We will have another live podcast on Sunday. I know that Mike Batiste really wants to make this podcast. He couldn't be there because he has some events at Youth EuroLeague tournament in Kaunas Sports Hall. There's also EuroLeague fan zone and some one-team events, so he couldn't make it as well. But on Sunday, he could be here on BasketNews Friend Zone studio for bonus. So let's keep these final predictions for Sunday, I would say.
We got one very nice comment on YouTube. Foivos Diakomakos says, the best two teams of this year, Olympiacos and BasketNews team. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, we can also ask what fans think about semifinal winners, right?
Yeah, guys, just make your predictions in the comments as well. Both live comments and after the broadcast, you can just leave your comments and we'll see how it goes.
What our friends from Basket News Friend Zone think. So we have first semifinal. Who thinks that Monaco will win tonight? Four guys, okay. Who thinks that Olympiacos will win tonight? That's what I expected. So Barca, Real Madrid. Who goes with Madrid?
Okay.
Madrid against the world, I told you. And Barca? That's nice. Although I expected Olympiacos fans to boo Jasikevičius, actually, but yeah, okay. Any remarks to finish the pod? What can we expect from this weekend? I mean, it's crazy for us, for content creators, because it feels like the Final Four has started many days before. A lot of preparation has been made, both for this event, for this Basket News Friend Zone, next to Žalgirio Arena on our website. But what fans, what our readers, what fans in Kaunas can expect from our Friend Zone, and also what they can expect on the website?
I think one thing that our readers, listeners, watchers have learned over those 2 years, that we try to make it as broad as possible. So you've got social media, on Instagram stories, we try to show what's going on behind the scenes. We try to show the streets of Kaunas. We try to show how it goes inside of the arena, outside of the arena, and so on. So you've got lots of background of how it feels to be here in Kaunas. And if you're not here live, you can check our Instagram and you can feel the vibe and the overall mood here. Then we also have all the stuff which is happening on website with guys creating so much great content, so many articles, so many great interviews, so many great insights from Donatas, articles and interviews to Augusta's breakdowns and those insights on things that regular fan cannot see, and just how you can break the game down watching through the eyes of a professional, because Augustas is a basketball player actually. Some player doubted you? James Nunnally, actually? Yeah.
Tell the story.
That was a funny story.
Yeah, that's a funny story. James Nunnally kind of had some angry words because of one of Augusta's breakdowns, and he said that, oh man, those journalists, they should never do this stuff because they haven't played the game, and they shouldn't do this. And we're thinking, this breakdown was done by a guy who is a player who plays for many years now, you know, and he's the most player that we have actually.
Probably the best guy in Europe from journalists. I'm not talking about the coaches and some other former players, but from media side, let's say.
I am on a blacklist of 2 players from EuroLeague, as far as I know. Nemanja Nedovic has blocked me because once I mentioned his bad defense in one Twitter
and I remember August said, oh, so Nemanja Nedovic once again shut his Twitter profile down.
We were recording a podcast, yeah. And I looked at it on my phone as we were recording because I thought, why I can't see his tweets? And then I was like, oh, he blocked me, okay. And then I had one bad tweet and one good tweet, but the bad tweet was made a little bit before, so I think he did not see the good one. And with Nunnally, it was a funny situation because I posted a clip of Gabriel Deck scoring in the post in the game 1, I think, in the quarterfinal series. And as you remember, Gabriel Deck had like 35 efficiency in that game, and was, I don't know, he scored from the post 6-7 times. 1 or 2 was against Nunnally, and I wrote, Deck destroying Partizan players in the post individually. And Nunnally apparently didn't like that tweet because he felt like he got scored on just one time. But I tweeted that was not only about him. That was Deck killed everybody in the post in that game. And it was really, you know, he got mad with one of our colleagues in post game. And he went through my tweets. He was the good ones about Partizan. He was saying some bad words about the good tweets and some bad words even about the bad ones. So just a funny story.
Just know, welcome to the journalistic world. That's something that me and Donatas are pretty used to, you know, being the fan of one team one week and the fan of the rival team next week because of something you say or something you write. So that's just very normal.
But we actually appreciate all the love and hate that we received from you fans directly. To be honest, we received so far only direct love so far, which we appreciate a lot. We also appreciate these hate comments, this constructive criticism that we get either from the players or from the fans. So we have no problems about that. We want to inspire this basketball discussion. We're not always on point. We're not right all the time, and it's normal. So that was also one of our primary ideas to inspire this discussion. And so far, we're really enjoying it as this Final Four.
Yeah. So, as I said, lots of content from social media to those articles to video content. Follow us on social media. Check us on BasketNews.com. Follow our bonus guys. Follow them on Twitter as well, as we share lots of great content there. And thanks for those 1,100 right now watching us live. And thank you guys for keeping up with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Enjoy Final Four in Kaunas.